is not a nice day today. It is really not a nice day. All right, guys, so we're on day 2, and we're gonna kind of go through a rundown here. So it's gonna just be a small amount of time per seminar, our thoughts, and we'll move on through. So next on the list, little kids equals big market. Now, this was actually done by Will, who you may remember from last year's expo. We had in our roundtable. He does Mission Liberté. Will has a kind of a unique situation as he's in a resort, a really big resort. So his traffic can be through the roof as a result. And his rent's probably through the roof too.
He has a lot of experiences, so it definitely pays for him to have kids games.
Right. Now I think what we learned from this is that an exclusive kids game is a major no.
Yeah.
But a family-friendly game is a yes. And it's also very market dependent. If you're in a town where that's not really your demographics, then maybe it doesn't work. But I think we definitely got a lot of good information from Will. That was it was a good seminar. We were even up in the air about attending it just because kids aren't really the biggest part of our base, but maybe it should be so, or maybe it could be. So we definitely looked into it. And, the question I still have is how the hell do you keep those rooms clean?
Yeah. Which you actually asked in the seminar.
And there was no good answer.
Clean it when you can.
Yeah. So now, now we get to guerrilla marketing, hosted by us. How'd that go?
First half was a little slow, a little boring, I guess, for people. But I think we definitely picked it up at the end and finished strong with our ARG content.
I'm not even going to say that it was a slow beginning. It's not what they were expecting. We ended up doing a lot of talk about, I guess you could say, general sales and operations in the business. And the thought behind it is simply...
Not everybody thinks about those things.
Right, and you could do all these guerrilla marketing techniques, but once you have them captive, you still got to turn it over into tickets. So just because someone comes out to participate in something for free doesn't mean it's going to automatically resonate in ticket sales. And we wanted to kind of cover that before... give them the tools for what to do when they have the people before we show them how to get the people.
We may have needed to emphasize that explanation more.
Yeah, and then once we got to the actual meat and potatoes, it seemed like everyone was pretty captivated. Got a lot of really great thank yous at the end of that, and then beyond, there's still a couple people randomly coming up, thanking us for that seminar, so it's been kind of nice. Room for improvement. For all we talk shit about everybody else, we talk shit about ourselves too. Room for improvement. So next time, kill it. Actually, I'm talking again tomorrow because I'm me.
But that's something where you
group panel.
Just talk on the spot. You don't need it to have anything prepared, so you'll do fine with that.
Yeah, I'm great at bullshitting. Okay. RoomEscapeArtist.com. David and Lisa Spira. Their presentation, the longest name in the entire list. What the hell, you two? I know you're bloggers and you write, but Jesus. Let's see here.
Goldilocking your escape room business.
Learn the difference between magnificent, average, and tragic escape room design.
It's a pretty long title.
Guys, next year, shorten the name. Anyway, just like last year, standing room only, and they killed it because that's kind of what they do.
They make a really good presentation. They're very well prepared, very good speakers.
I actually think Lisa's the better speaker. But
Go ahead, argue about that. Amongst yourselves.
but still, they're really, really good and very well prepared.
Yeah.
And I think it's safe to say at this point,
they know their stuff, of course.
that they may be, from an industry perspective, the most notable people in this industry now. And
a lot people even mention them in their seminars. Other
yeah.
people. So.
Yeah, and that may be deserved. Although, what does that say when they actually called out Trapdoor in theirs?
It's true, they did.
It was only for a safety alarm, but
Still.
we'll take it.
Still. All right, so the 11:15 that I went to was construction and fire code with the guy from Five Wits. What was the name again? Matthew Duplessis. Great company. The guy is a phenomenal speaker. Really wish we had known all this fire code stuff a year ago when we were opening Morristown, because it was all very useful, and it would have been great if we knew it then, and we would have been able to better present ourselves even before we started construction to the inspectors and stuff. So really informative, very well presented. Just a little too late for us personally, but would have been good for people that are just about to open their rooms. So.
Okay, and while Frank was, in the Five Wits presentation on fire safety, I went to Social Media 101 because it made sense. This way we split up, we get more done. So we went over, and that was presented by Nicole Ginsburg. And I have to say, in my opinion, for me, that may have been the best presentation I've been to so far. I really enjoyed all her different breakdowns of how she uses YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat. Got a little argumentative in the room at one point about who is on Snapchat and whether or not those people have deep enough pockets to actually even participate, versus the idea that that's the generation that if your business grows and is still around in 5 years, those are the people who will be coming to your building. My argument would actually be in her favor. Maybe they don't have deep pockets now, but their parents do, and their parents are paying for it anyway. So what does it matter? Reach the people. So I enjoyed all of it quite a bit. There's a few things that we're going to implement and change. And little fun fact, Nicole used to be the Wendy's girl. Next up, pop-up escape games. I was confused through a lot of that. Not because of the presentation of it, but when we got to the interactive part of it. Because I thought the whole idea was like, here's your scenario. You're handcuffed. The key is just a few feet out of reach, if not inches. Come up with a puzzle. And then everybody just started coming up with puzzles to do in a conference room.
Right. Or to actually go through the entire game, not just the next step, just the entire game itself, and that didn't seem to be what they were going for.
No, and
so it's not really their fault, I guess, unless they just didn't explain it well. But
and I didn't get to do mine, so I'll do it now. You're in a conference room. There's like 200 seats. Everyone look under your chairs. You've got a bomb. You've got a bomb. You've got a bomb. Now solve the puzzles to figure out how to disarm the bombs. The end. Anything else you could think of about pop-up games?
They obviously have had great success with pop-up games.
Sounds like it.
I don't know if they've left us with the tools to create our own.
Maybe. Definitely some good rules, though, like, make sure your resets are extremely minimal.
Yeah.
Don't have excessive props. Make sure you have backups just like you would in a normal escape game. Things like that. So, good presentation, just, maybe for newcomers a little bit better.
Some good advice about interacting with the venues that you're popping up at. They had a few good pointers about that.
Yeah, this is true. Okay, next up, we started Split Up. I went to Motion and Escape Rooms by Evolutions. Now, I'm not going to even commentate on the presentation itself because I didn't see much of it. I saw about maybe 2 minutes. Here's why I left. This is literally a personal preference thing. They were going into a lot of tech that had to do with air compression. And I don't know if you've ever used an air compressor, but it's really fucking loud. So I did not want to put an air compressor in my escape games because I don't want that giant disruptive sound every single time something has to happen. So, and then otherwise the stuff that they were talking... God damn it, David! Otherwise, the stuff that they were talking about, I wasn't really excited about because it was like pistons and electrical, openers, things like that we all already kind of deal with. So I left that seminar and I joined Frank in Nate's seminar on...
very good. Everything you know is wrong.
A journey
Almost everything you know
through
is wrong.
the most common misconceptions in the industry. What a jackass. Nate does awesome presentations. He is a really great public speaker, and he absolutely deserves the fame he gets for everywhere he speaks and being asked to speak everywhere because he puts on a great show.
Yeah.
I was talking actually to Chad from Exodus, little shout out for him in California, about how we love his presentation because he's a little bit of a dick, and Chad and I are both a bit of a dick. So great dicks think alike, I guess. I don't know any other way to present that. But really great presentation on how the barrier of entry to the business is different now. You cannot just walk in this for 10 grand anymore, and it's like a misconception, and I don't know why. But there's this thought that I played a game, it was cool, here we come, and that's not the business anymore. There was a talk about private versus public ticketing models, and he fully supports the same angle that we do, that public ticketing is the way to go.
If your room is as big as ours are. If you have a small room, it's okay to do the private.
Even F5, really we just switched to public though, and that's a 6-player game. I guess if you have a 4-player game. But in that note, what are you operating in, a shoebox? I mean, I don't know.
You'd have to have 10 games, and that just happens to be one of the choices. But
Right. So I just I tend to agree with a lot of his stances. So I don't know how much I learned as much as how much was reinforced.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I mean, he said stuff we kind of already knew, but at the same time, he gave it a little bit more of an insight, and he definitely gave a background to it that, that definitely informed that decision and why we already made the decision pretty much.
So the expo floor. This has been a topic we've been talking about a little bit throughout. I think there is a lot less people here this year.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the location itself because we're right on the border of New York and of the U.S. and Canada, and maybe that alienated a lot of the U.S. companies.
And a couple of people said it was actually harder and more expensive to get here than it was to Chicago last year. So.
Yeah. I mean, I would have preferred the quick flight to Chicago over the 7-hour ride here, and now 7 hours home tomorrow night. There's a lot less people, and as a result, it seemed like the floor for the actual expo was a lot smaller too.
Yeah.
There was a few faces that were here last year that are not here this year. Was there anything good on the floor? Of course. There's some interesting stuff. I love the giant trailers for pop-ups. It's getting a little loud in here now. So I like that stuff. It's a good walk around. It's a good time. The New York side, Niagara here in general. How do I put this? It's a shithole out here. I hear the Canadian side is better. I could see that.
Yeah.
You can't get much worse than this side.
Pretty sparse and just like very small, cheesy souvenir shops mostly, and there's that one crappy-looking haunted house.
I said this already. Depending upon how this gets edited, I don't know if this will come first or second, but who the frick puts a Fridays in the hotel for breakfast? Breakfast!
We tried it though.
But it's like that's the only option. It's TGI Fridays, Starbucks,
is the hotel restaurant,
or Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the Rainforest Cafe for a minute just because the ambiance is cool and it's almost like related to our industry from an ambiance perspective. But I mean, there is no good food options over here. I feel like every time I eat here, I leave like a grease bucket around my face. I hate it. And the floors here are sticky.
And what about the falls itself?
Falls itself. You've seen one waterfall, you've seen them all.
It was so cold and so windy.
Yeah,
we couldn't even stay there very long.
It felt like it hit 30 degrees when we were over there. And the wind astronomically hitting us, like, it actually pushed me. And I know I'm not heavy, but Jesus Christ.
It pushed me, though, so...
And, and of course, obviously, Niagara Falls, there's a massive amount of mist, so you're getting wet. You're getting wet in 30 degrees with a wind chill of negative 100. It was... I mean, is it gorgeous? Of course it is. Is it a wonder of the world? Of course it is. But I'd rather go walk around Bushkill Falls.
Such a non-New Yorker.
I'm such a non-New Yorker. So yeah, see it, I guess, at some point in your life. But yeah, that's all I got.
Do it when it's warm.
Do it.
Do it.
Just do it.
This pillow has been without Frank's head for about 8 hours. And it's not reshaping. This is the quality of your stay. Here. Where the fuck are we?
Sheridan.
At the Sheridan in Niagara.
Too soft.